Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today I'm going to be doing a product review on this Impact Air Ratchet Wrench. This is the 3/8 impact wrench that's available at Harbor Freight Tools. It's under the brand Earthquake, which is, I believe, one of theirs, but this is part of their, I guess, professional series, which they call it, as far as for performance and durability. So we're going to put it to the test. We're going to do a full product review. So let's go ahead and get started. This is how you get it. This is the box that it comes in here. Now, this is the higher end air ratchet that they sell at Harbor Freight. This is around $80. I'll put the information along the bottom, but this is actually the only one that I saw that was an impacting air ratchet wrench, and this is part of their Earthquake series, which is more their professional one. So this one also has the most torque. This has 70 foot-pounds of torque. The other ones, I believe, are 45 and 50, and then less than that. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this is that it is not recommended if all you have is a 1 to 6 gallon air compressor. If you have a 7 to 28 gallon, you can use it for intermittent use. Now, they recommend for continuous use using a 29 or higher gallon air compressor. So you want to make sure that you have the right air compressor to power this thing properly. So a couple cool things with this one that kind of caught my attention. First of all was the foot-pounds of torque that it had, because the other ones were less. This also has a maximum speed of 400 RPMs, which is way higher than the other ones. I think they're around like 150 or somewhere in that range there. Let's flip this box over and take a look at the back here. But here's some of the features that it has. It has a pin clutch impact mechanism that eliminates torque reaction, 3 times faster than a standard air ratchet wrench, and it has a silencing handle and exhaust. This is ideal for general mechanics, tire shops, body shops. Now, if we look here at the specifications, we already talked about the foot-pounds of torque. It does have a torque range of 20 to 70 pounds, free speed 400 RPMs, working pressure 90 psi. So you want to make sure that you have a regulator on your air compressor. That way you can adjust that so you don't go beyond the 90 psi. Average air consumption is 4 CFM at 90 psi. Air inlet is 1/4 inch. Recommended hose size 3/8. Then we just have some information here. Total weight 2.8 pounds, things like that. So let's go ahead and open this up so we can connect it to the compressor and see what it can do. Here's our owner's manual. Set that off here. And comes with this here little container of oil, and our impact wrench is here, and it's actually wired in. So let's go ahead and open this up here on the back. So this is it here. It's actually very solid. It does have right here a note that reminds you to oil this thing daily. Here's our input plug right here. Oh, and one other thing. If you don't oil daily, you will run the risk of voiding the warranty. So here's the plug. It has a little mesh kind of filter there where it connects in. So we have that. Now, one thing it did not come with that some of the other ones that I've seen before come with is the adapter that screws in here to connect to the disconnect on your compressor hose. So I was expecting it to have that, which it does not. Inside the manual, they have this setup guide here on how you want to connect it. So what the recommended connection here is you want to be going through a filter, a regulator, and then you can get a lubricator, which is letter D, which is probably recommended. That way you don't have to worry about lubricating it daily, as we already talked about. So that'll keep it lubricated as you're using it. So that's kind of your setup there, that you want to be running it through your compressor before you use it. Now, if you're going to be just lubricating it yourself, this is where you would lubricate it through. And what you want to do is put a couple drops of the oil in there daily. Or if you're using it for a long period of time, you may want to kind of stop and lubricate it while using it if you're going to be using it a lot. But that's key, as we already talked about, for the warranty, and also, you know, to protect your tool so you don't destroy it. We're going to go ahead and put the hose attachment on it. But what we're going to do first, put a couple drops of oil in it. So we're going to put it right in here. We'll do probably just two or three. Okay, oil that up. And it comes with this little container, as we saw, but you can always buy more at the store. This is just regular air tool oil. So before we put that on, I'm going to put a little bit of plumbing tape so we get a nice sealed connection. So there we go. And we'll screw that on. And then we'll just use a 14mm wrench. Tighten it all the way around. Get it nice and snug. There we go. Let's connect it to the compressor. And if you don't have one of these quick release attachments, highly recommend it. It makes it so much easier. But anyway, just put it on. That's in. Let's go ahead and test it out. Make sure you set your pressure regulator to no more than 90 psi. Everything is ready. We have the compressor ready. We have the 90 psi set on the regulator. So we're going to go ahead and put this to the test. Make sure that we have this on reverse since we're going to be taking it off. And I know you're not supposed to run it dry, but I just want to show you real quick. Okay, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and start and see what this thing can do. I'm going to go ahead and test it on a few of these nuts and bolts here under the hood. As you know, if you work on cars, sometimes they can be kind of hard to remove. So what I'm going to be using here is an extension. We're going to go ahead and add that to it. And I'm going to get a close-up here as we kind of move some of these, and let's see how quick this performs on removing and screwing them back in. So we have a 10mm bolt right here, which is holding this attachment here. Get that on there, make sure we have it on reverse. Wow, that came off very fast. I'm impressed with that. Now let's go ahead and put it back on and see how quick it will. And you want to hand thread it first, that way you're not cross threading anything. Put it on forward. Nice. Very, very quick. Let's go ahead and try something with a little more of a challenge. Next, I'm going to do something with a little more of a challenge. We're going to try this nut right here on this engine mount. These things can usually be on there pretty tight, so this will be a really tough test, but let's see if this can even do it. We have it on reverse, and we have the extension. I'm going to get a longer extension, that way you can see what I'm doing. Okay, could not budge it, which I didn't think it would, because those are usually torqued very tight. I'm going to try doing it by hand, and let's see if we can get it with the hand ratchet to see if this thing should have been able to do it or not. Let's see here. Can't budge it. Can't budge it. You probably need to use either an impact wrench or breaker bar anyway, so I don't know if that was a fair test, but either way, I wanted to test it and see what it could do. Next, I'm going to try this valve cover bolt right here. Those can be on usually pretty tight as well, but not to the point where you need an impact wrench or breaker bar, but they are very tight. Let's see if it can take that off and how well that does. We're going to go in here. And let me just say one quick thing. One of the things that I like about this one here, this earthquake impacting pneumatic ratchet, it's very sleek. You'll see some of them where they're kind of bulky up here or bulky in the handle. Sometimes the electric ones are. This one here is not much thicker than a regular ratchet, so in like tight spots, you can get in easily. So that's one of the things that I liked about it. Okay, let's go ahead and try it. Wow, that thing came up really, really quick. Impressed with that. And now to put it back on, I'll just change it to forward. Perfect. For the final test, I'm going to try one of these bolts here, which is here on the body panel. We're going to do it by hand first with the ratchet and see if we're able to get it to budge. That way we can see if there's definitely going to be any difference. So if we push on it, okay. With both hands, it's very tight. So we have another one up here. I'm going to try it with the ratchet because we know that, to be fair to it, it can be done by hand with a ratchet using a lot of pressure. So let's see what it does. Took it out without any problem at all. Impressed with that. Let's feed that back down. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up this product review for this Impacting Pneumatic Air Ratchet by Earthquake, available at Harbor Freight Tools. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 10. I was very impressed with it, but one thing to keep in mind, this is strictly a ratchet. This is not an impact wrench. So as we saw, things that normally could be achieved with a hand ratchet, sometimes with some extra force and elbow grease, this thing was able to do with no problem, which is why I give it a 10 out of 10. I was very impressed with it. Very well made, very durable. But as we mentioned at the beginning, it's important to keep this thing oiled for the sake of the warranty and also for the sake of keeping it operating to its peak performance. Now, if you're dealing with nuts or bolts that are beyond what you can do by hand or with a ratchet, where you're needing a breaker bar, then of course you're going to need an impact wrench, something with more power to do that, which this is not what this is right here. This is an impacting air ratchet, but it's not an impact wrench. So I hope that this product review was informative for you. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it answered any questions you may have about the product. Please send me any questions, any comments. I would love to hear from you. As always, I appreciate all the support, so please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.